The way that people engage today, when they look at making any kind of a purchase decision, they are going to start with an online search. Yeah. You look at, they may have 100 reviews going back for the last 10, 15 years. Great. Mm-hmm. Look at their last bunch of reviews. What's going on recently? Typically, backlinks are going to be a link from your website to some other company's website and vice versa. So like if you're a member of a chamber of commerce, having a chamber logo on your page and a link to their business directory, well, you're in their business directory and that's a relevant, authoritative entity online. So you're going to get some value from that, right?
Welcome to the Biz Life Podcast. I am Donnie Bedore, your host, and we are here to talk about the business life, not the busy life. So I have a special guest, returning guest, Brig Serman. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Donnie. It's great to be here.
Yes, sir. Man, I had such a great time on our last episode. Hey, and if you haven't watched the last episode, go back, 5, 6, 7 back then. And we were talking about networking. And I had many people reach out to me saying that episode was great and they really enjoyed it. So thank you for that.
Well, that's good to know. Thanks for saying.
Yeah. And if y'all enjoyed that episode, you're really going to love this one. So stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe, share out. It really does help the algorithm and build this channel so we can help more entrepreneurs like you. So let's get started.
Fantastic.
All right. So just recap, because some may have not have, watched the last episode. Sure. Just a short recap about who you are and what do you do and your life and things.
Sounds like a great way to start. So again, Brig Serman. I'm the president and CEO of a little company called Advanced Integrated Marketing. Okay. We're a digital marketing agency. We're based in Arlington, Texas, but we serve companies around the world.
Okay.
So our focus on digital marketing. Some people might think, well, I understand marketing, but what's digital? What makes it digital? Well, the way that people engage today, when they look at making any kind of a purchase decision, they are going to start with an online search.
Absolutely.
Highly educated community. They're very savvy about finding information. In fact, 93% of all purchase decisions, whether it's B2C or B2B, start with an online search.
Dang, 93%.
93%.
Goodness.
So that's staggering. Now, 4 or 5 years ago, it was about 75%. That increased pretty significantly, during 2021 timeframe during COVID, right? Because a lot of online shopping became a lot more prevalent. Yep. But when we look at that phenomena, the whole focus of digital marketing is reaching that audience that's exhibiting that behavior. They're doing those searches. They're trying to get educated on products or services before they ever go speak to a potential vendor or business partner or what have you. Mm-hmm. So our job is to make sure we are intersecting that activity with your message so that you're the one that they're finding before they're finding your competition.
Right.
So in a nutshell, that's digital marketing.
That's good. That's good. And remind me, wife, kids.
Yes, I have those.
You have all those. Perfect.
No, my wife and I, my wife, Dawn, we just celebrated our 34th wedding anniversary. I wake up every morning shocked that she hasn't smothered me in my sleep. I certainly would deserve it, but I'm very blessed in that capacity. Yeah. I have a 30-year-old daughter. She works for Carnival Cruise Lines, so she's on cruise ships most of the year. A 28-year-old son who's just celebrated his first wedding anniversary, so we now have a bonus daughter-in-law.
Nice.
So that's the family, and we're very blessed. With the exception of our daughter, who's usually in the Caribbean, they all live in Arlington.
Okay.
So
very
they're all
cool.
close to home.
I love it. Well, let's. You talked a little bit about it was advanced integrated marketing.
Correct.
Where'd you come up with that name?
It's funny. Somebody asked me that the other day. A little bit of my history. I spent a little bit more than 30 years with a small startup company called IBM. So I had sort of ingrained in my psyche 3-letter acronym to start a company. So I couldn't help but come up with something like that. Yeah. Well, then I combined that with the old AAA bail bonds approach from the Yellow Pages, right? Your first letter of your first name, the beginning of the alphabet, whatever. That's not a thing anymore, obviously, right? But it was still in my head. Yeah. All seriousness, all kidding aside, the word advanced. I mean, we leverage cutting edge technology. Yeah. So that was that was relevant. Integrated, we take an end-to-end approach when we do marketing for our clients.
Yeah.
We look at every aspect of what they need from a digital marketing perspective, and we offer those services.
Yeah.
And then marketing is sort of self-evident.
Yeah, right.
I would hope.
Yeah. So this episode is dedicated to the small business owner, the entrepreneur. If you have a business, you want to own a business, you work in a business, this episode is going to be for you. So we're going to dive into SEO and digital marketing in this episode and really give you some nuts and bolts. And let's dive in.
Sounds good.
It'll be fun. All right. So talked a little bit about what digital marketing is, right? What do you think would set you apart from other marketing agencies, right?
That's a great question. So there's a couple of things that when we started the company, we were very focused on some sort of fundamental premises, right? So for example, in our industry, it's quite common for companies, digital marketing agencies, to require long-term commitments. I get it, right? What we do is not an overnight success. It's a, the cliche, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? There's a lot of merit to that.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in locking people in. We want to earn our clients' business every month. So we don't require long-term contracts. We do offer them, right, for pricing discounts, that sort of thing, but that's not part of what we do. We're also one of the only agencies anywhere that offers a guarantee for our SEO plans.
Okay.
So we will get our clients on the front page of search results within 90 days of implementing our approach. If we don't achieve that, we give 100% of their money back.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we've never had to give that refund.
Wow.
So our approach consistently works.
Yeah.
Now we're talking tens of thousands of websites over the years where we've achieved new front page placement with our SEO approach.
Nice.
Yeah.
And for the audience that doesn't know really the ins and out of SEO,
Or even what that is.
or what it is, right? Let's dive into that.
Let's talk about that.
What is SEO and why is it important?
So SEO is an acronym. It stands for Search Engine Optimization. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of our discussion that 93% of purchase decisions start with an online search. Well, if you look at a typical Google search page, right, you put in, roofing company near me or whatever you're looking for. Well, the typical format of the results, you're going to see at the very top of the page, typically the first 3 to 5 results are going to be advertisements. They're going to be labeled as ad or sponsored or recommended.
Right.
They've paid to be at the top of the page.
Correct.
Okay. Right below that, you will see 10 listings that is called your organic listings, organic search results. Oftentimes, the first 3 of those are tied to a map. Those are very local, right? And that has a lot to do with the location of both that business and the location of the person doing the search. Those are big factors that influence who gets in that top 3.
Yeah.
But when we look at search results, those first 10 results, when people click those links to go to those websites and learn about that service or product that they're searching for, of all of the traffic that's generated from search engines, over 99% is generated from those first 10 listings on the front page.
Wow.
So you could be on page 2, you might as well be on page 20.
Yeah.
So the whole focus of SEO, search engine optimization, that's the process to make sure your business is showing up on that front page.
Right.
Now, why is that important?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're not on the front page, well, you're not in that 99%, but your competition is.
Right.
So if you want to compete, ideally, if you want to beat your competition and be ahead of them, let's replace them on the front page with your business.
Yeah.
So that's SEO.
Yeah, definitely. I've always heard it that way, is that the SEO is more of the long game.
It is.
Where like paid ads, they can get you up at the top quickly. Right. But SEO more of the long game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about paid ads.
Yeah.
Right. Because they do have a place in a marketing strategy. First of all, it's not a strategy that we typically recommend as a long-term approach. But pay-per-click, PPC ads, right? If you think Google ads or even in social media, pay-per-click ads, there's some logic to that phrase, pay-per-click. Every time somebody clicks that link, that company's paying. They're typically paying Google. Well, Google makes about $220 billion a year from pay-per-click advertising. I mean,
say that number again.
$220 billion.
Wow.
Now, it's been about 2 years since I looked up that number, so it's likely higher than that. But, it still makes the point. It's in the billions, $220 billion. So at the end of the day, they're an advertising company, right? Yeah. They're taking that data and they're mining it and selling it to other advertisers and whatnot. But that's how they monetize it. Well, the challenge that we have with pay-per-click advertising is like 94% of the public won't click ads. Mm-hmm. They figured out they're there because somebody paid to be there, not because they're the best answer.
Right.
When you look at that 6% of the public that will click ads, if you break that down by gender and education level, women with any level of higher education, whether they completed degrees or not, typically 1 to 2% of the time they will click ads. So if that's your audience and you're relying on pay-per-click ads, you're missing probably 98% of your addressable market.
Wow,
right?
That's a good point.
Now, when does it make sense to use pay-per-click? Well, I'll tell you what, we could get a pay-per-click ad on Google within 24 hours or less. I mean, it's very, very quick.
Yeah.
So if you've got a time-sensitive opportunity, examples that come to mind, if you're a retailer and you're trying to promote your business for the holidays, if that's your peak season, having a short-term pay-per-click ad strategy to promote end-of-year sales in time for the holidays, okay, that's a good logical use case.
Yeah.
Another one that we see a lot here in Texas, especially in the spring, you look at roofing companies and hailstorms.
There you go.
So oftentimes, many of our roofing clients will call us up after a hailstorm and say, hey, these are the 5 zip codes that, tools like HailTrace tell us hailstorms have hit.
Right.
We want to run a pay-per-click ad for maybe 7 to 10 days, only targeting homeowners in those zip codes. So that's a good use case. It's going to be expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're not the only roofers doing it.
So there's a lot of competition for that ad space.
Yeah.
But there is a viable use case for it. We just don't typically recommend it as your first sort of leading strategy. When we compare pay-per-click to SEO, typically with SEO, we'll drive 4 to 5 times the volume of traffic to your website at about 1/3 of what you would typically spend on pay-per-click. So it's a much better return on investment.
Yeah.
And another good analogy, it's kind of like renting an apartment versus buying a home.
Okay.
Well, one of those two, you're building equity.
Right.
That's SEO. Yeah. Both of them are going to give you shelter.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you turn off that pay-per-click ad, you don't have any long-term value that you've created. That it goes away.
Yeah.
So.
No, that makes sense. Makes sense. Well, whenever I'm thinking of the ad, it's so funny that a couple of things that you said. Number one, the majority of the people go to, digital to research.
Right.
Right. I have a martial arts school, and this family had been with us for years and years. And the mom had come up. She said, "Hey, Donnie, I want to tell you about something." I said, "Okay." She said, "Well, whenever we joined the school, I researched you before we came in."
Right.
And I was like, "Creeper."
Yeah.
I was like, I felt.
Yeah.
And then I was like
invasive. Yeah.
"What did you find?"
Yeah. Well, that's a great question.
Yeah. I was
what did she find?
Yeah. And she was like, "No, everything I found was amazing. That's why we came in."
And she wouldn't be there otherwise. Exactly.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And so, no, her kids got black belts. She was with us for a long, long time. And, so anyway, that was a cool little connection that we have,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Because your son, if I remember right,
That's right.
Your son used to train with Orlando Wall.
That's correct.
Which is one of my instructors in jiu-jitsu and now business partner.
About 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I mentioned your name, and he was like, Brig Serman?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And he's like, "Do you have a picture?" So
it's not a common name. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sent a picture. He's like, "Yeah,
Because
there you go."
that can't be the guy.
So.
The guy I remember was skinny and dark hair.
He didn't say all that.
Yeah. Right.
But anyway, let's go into, okay, so whenever I'm thinking of, SEO and Google, we're talking about that, right? And admittedly, I'm one that I typically don't trust the ads.
Sure.
Just because I know, I've paid for ads, and not that everybody that's paying for ads are creeps or anything like that.
No,
but,
nothing like that.
It just, to me, more the organic seems like it's more trustworthy.
they've earned that spot.
Right.
So there's a reason they've earned that spot.
If they're going to be there.
Yeah.
And then, so another thing that I look at is reviews.
Oh, that's huge.
Especially whenever we're out of town.
Right.
And we're like, okay, we want a Mexican restaurant. First thing we do, you go to Mexican restaurant here, check out the reviews.
Right.
Right. Is there a certain ratio that's like that you can just look at and say, okay, if they're a 4.2 with this many, they're probably not the best, or they're a 4.2 with this many, then they're probably, is there anything that you look at? Is your business online presence driving the results you need? Well, I am Donnie Bedore from the Biz Life Podcast, and today we're highlighting advanced integrated marketing, where Brig Serman and his team excel in transforming your digital marketing strategies. Whether it's through SEO, social media management, or comprehensive digital marketing, they guarantee to enhance your visibility and improve your profit margin. Don't let your competitors outshine you online. Call Advanced Integrated Marketing today to get your free assessment of your website and learn how they help your business thrive. Visit aim-tex.com to learn more. Advanced Integrated Marketing, turning clicks into customers.
Not from that perspective.
Okay.
That's a great question, and that's a very logical and analytical way to look at it, which I'm now going to go look at that and see if there's anything to that. But I would look at reviews a little bit differently. So first of all, behavior. Let's talk about how people engage and the importance of reviews in today's world. 81% of the public will trust an online review as much, if not more, than a recommendation from a friend or a family member. When I first heard that statistic, I was shocked. Right. When you look at the reviews themselves, if you find that Mexican restaurant, they got a 4.2 average rating, say they got 30, 40, 50 reviews. Well, you go read the reviews, go read what people said. Most people are going to filter down to the 1-star reviews if they have them, or 2 or 3. They want to go see what the problems were. But here's the interesting thing. We recommend that a business owner that's asking for reviews respond to every single review. If you get a 5-star review, thank them. People want to feel that their time and effort was valued, right? They want that thank you. If you get a 1-star review, you thank them. You thank them for that feedback. You take ownership over the problem. You demonstrate steps to correct it. Hey, we want to find out what happened. Here's my direct number. Call me. We'll correct whatever mistake we've made, whatever's appropriate to that situation. Your audience is not the person that left the review. It's the person that's reading that review. So if you got that 1-star review, but you've responded, you've taken ownership, and you've taken steps to correct it, that person's 170 times more likely to use the business in spite of that 1-star review. So that's where reviews become very, very important. Now, I'll tell you, the thing about reviews that's really difficult for it's really difficult for everybody, to be honest with you, is asking for reviews.
I agree.
Do you find yourself kind of struggling to, I don't really want to ask for this,
Yes. I'm probably one that asks more than most people. But still, and not necessarily that I struggle with asking. I don't ever mind asking. Sometimes I just forget, to be honest with you.
Sure.
It's like, crap, they really said they loved it. I should have asked them for a review, right? And I forget.
Well, we can help with that. I mean, we do offer what we call a reputation management service. So a lot of times if you hear that phrase, you would kind of naturally think, oh, you've got a problem. You have a bad reputation. We need to fix it. Well, okay, the reality is if you got bad reviews, the only way to get rid of those bad reviews is if the person that left the review removes it. It is what it is, right? So that's why we recommend, you respond, you take ownership. That's the best thing you can do for those negatives. But part of the process is, we can go back and look at your last 50, 100 clients, whatever, and we'll run a marketing campaign to ask them to help us help other potential customers, help us tell our story. Please leave a 5-star review. Oh, if you didn't have a 5-star experience, here's my number.
Right.
I want to correct that. Right. So proactively asking for the reviews and making it a part of your process.
Yeah.
Right. Do like you just said, you don't always remember to do it, but if it's kind of built into your process, then it becomes second nature.
Here's one that I want to read to you. So this was actually a real review for my Grace Craze store.
Okay.
It was a 1-star review.
Okay.
And so I responded and said, hey,
good.
Let me fix it.
Good.
I'll even refund your money, whatever it takes, right? They came in, and then they changed the review.
That can happen.
They changed it. Said I was disappointed about a situation. I gave them a 1-star review. However, the owner of the store reached out to me and wanted to make it right. He gave me a full refund. This is a family business, definitely worth trying. His customer service changed it from a 1 to a 4.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so it's like, and I share that with, many other business owners. I'm like, look, a 1-star review isn't the end of the world.
No.
And you can't shy away from it.
Right.
You need to engage it. You need to find out, okay, was it something, or was it something we did, or was it just undefined expectations that we couldn't meet, right? And then make it. And a lot of times, whenever I've seen that, whenever a business owner will engage with this, a lot of times you end up making a lifelong customer.
Absolutely, yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's very, especially with small businesses, right?
Yeah.
If you're a large enterprise, reviews are critically important, but you're not going to have that personal connection, or the opportunity for that personal connection is not as prevalent, right? But as a small business owner, it can be a game changer for you.
Yeah.
Now, when you get that review, that 1-star review, it's unfortunate, but there are companies out there that will go leave bad reviews for a competitor, right? You could hire somebody. You can't hire us to do it. We won't do that. But you could hire people that would go out and leave bad reviews for your competition. Well, so determining if the review is legitimate is fair, right?
Sure.
If you had no record of that person ever having been a client,
and I've had that happen before too.
There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you've fallen through the cracks. We have no record of you ever doing business with us. Call me. Let's find out what happened and we'll fix the problem.
Yeah.
Anybody that's reading that is smart enough to know, that's not a legitimate review.
Yeah. The one that I had, and it's funny you bring that up because for another business I have, someone did do that.
Right.
We have multiple locations and they it was a copy and paste review.
Sure.
On all the locations, right? And so, again, responded, and then I went one step further and actually sent it to Google and said, hey, this is not legit. And they removed it.
Okay.
They removed it. I was like, thank you.
That's rare. That's very, very rare.
Yeah.
It can happen. Obviously, in your case, it did. If you got reviews that are violating laws, they're threatening, harassment.
Like
So that's a whole different category. But rarely do we see that.
Yeah.
Rarely.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I was like, you know what? I'm wondering if they, aren't able to track the online presence of this person and say, okay, this generated from some other country or whatever.
Sure.
And this person's, because they know where you're browsing. They know where you're at. Right.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
I mean, they got a lot of data. They got a lot of access, but here's the interesting thing. And I find this a lot with startup businesses. Okay. Reviews can be so important for a startup business, but if you don't have a lot of clients, you might think, I don't have an opportunity for a lot of reviews.
Sure.
Well, what you do not want to do is ask your friends and family to go leave you a 5-star review, or really ask anybody to leave you a review if they haven't done business with you.
Yeah.
Right. That's fraud. I mean, it's just, and you don't want to get into that habit.
Right.
But what you can do, and I've seen we've talked about BNI in our last session together.
Yeah.
I've seen in BNI meetings where people are asking for reviews. Well, if they haven't done business, an appropriate thing to say is, you know what? I've never tried Graze Craze, but I've met Donnie. I understand his business. I've been very impressed. And our next opportunity, we're going to give him a try. That's a valid review.
Yeah.
That's actually a very impactful review.
Yeah.
So if as a small business owner, you're trying to build that review presence, that's what you should ask for.
Nice.
Not a fake review.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Are there any tips and tricks that you can give maybe the new business owner on how to consistently get reviews from current customers? I mean,
Sure.
I know you have the service, but is there anything else that they can do on their end?
Yeah, I only mention the service because when you start talking about the volume of reviews that some businesses need, it gets beyond what a business owner can really manage themselves. They got better things to do.
Exactly.
Couple of examples. So we have, as a friend of mine from my Rotary Club that has a floral shop in Arlington. And years ago, I put together a little poster that he has at his cash register. And it's got a QR code that leads to his Google business page where people can leave a review.
Yeah.
Well, we just kind of had fun with it. And the poster says, "Help us get another husband out of trouble." And it's been there for 5 years now, and he's got hundreds of 5-star reviews. And it caught people's attention. It's at the point of sale terminal. It's visible. They've gotten to the point where they don't really even have to call it out. People see it, they just scan it with their phone, and they're off to the races. You may not be a brick and mortar retail store, right? So that you don't have that natural ability. Well, if you're giving invoices or receipts to clients, well, you can print that QR code. We're big believers in QR codes, by the way, because it's easy. You scan it with your phone. You go straight to the Google page.
I was using them before they were popular. It's like, what is that?
So
it's
you're
like
cutting
it's a QR
edge.
code,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Been using them for 10 years.
So, but if you've got printed material that you leave with a client, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I've seen people put it on the back of their business card.
That's a good idea.
Just another way to facilitate that.
That's a good idea.
But when you're a small business, so you asked the question about the 4.2 number with the Mexican restaurant when you're out of town.
Yeah.
I failed to mention something. This is very important for business owners. Yeah. You look at, they may have 100 reviews going back for the last 10, 15 years. Great. Mm-hmm. Look at their last bunch of reviews. What's going on recently?
That's a good tip, yeah.
So if they're 4.2 or a 3.8, if they're, low enough that you kind of go, let me check this out before we go have dinner there.
Yeah.
Well, look at the timing, right? If they had a bunch of 3 or 4-star reviews 2 years ago, but since then it's all 4 or 5s and, and very positive comments.
Probably got rid of an employee.
Or whatever, right? Yeah. Whatever the problem that they had, they've addressed that problem. Okay, that's a good story. You can be comfortable and go have dinner there. Yep. Conversely, if you see, man, the last 20 reviews they got were 1-star reviews, I'd probably go somewhere else, honestly, right? Mm-hmm. When we work with clients on reputation management, there's an important element in this. Mm. If you're not consistently getting 5-star reviews, are you capable of delivering 5-star service? So that kind of goes to your business processes. Yeah. That goes to your customer service. That goes to, it could go to your pricing. I mean, are you competitive in your market, right? But oftentimes we'll sit down with a small business and kind of map out, hey, where are you going wrong if you're consistently getting less than stellar reviews?
Right.
So,
no, I like it. What can a small business owner do on their own to get started on this whole SEO journey, digital marketing?
Yeah, let's talk about digital marketing because SEO is really difficult for a small business owner to do on their own. It's a very, very specialized, rigorous skill.
Right.
What are things that a small business owner can do on their own where they don't need to go hire somebody? Right. Well, there's several things. So the first and easiest thing to do is I would recommend every small business go create what's called a Google Business Profile page. They go to Google, they search Google Business Profile, they follow the link. Mm-hmm. It's a free service. They're basically creating a business listing in Google.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at search results, I mentioned those first 3 that are tied to a map. Well, those are typically links to the Google Business Profile.
Gotcha.
Well, the things that get you to the top, there's 3 things. There's the quality of the SEO work that's been done on the website, right?
Yeah.
Small business owners are probably not going to be able to do that on their own.
Right.
Second is the quantity and quality of reviews.
Okay.
So that's where reviews are very, very important. But the third factor is location.
Right.
It's local. So if you're, wherever the location of your phone When you're searching for that Mexican restaurant, it's going to look at a radius and say, okay, who's got the best SEO and the best reviews within this radius?
Yeah.
Right? But that all ties back to that free Google Business Profile page. Well, once you've created it, treat it like it's a social media platform.
I was about to get into that.
Yeah.
Good. Keep going.
Put updates up there. Tell the world what's going on. Share photos.
Yeah.
If you're engaged in your community, share that on that Google Business Profile. All of that enhances, that information, and that's going to boost you in search results.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been told that maybe here recently, last couple 2-3 years, I don't know, but Google has put a lot more weight into what you're just saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to come back to that because there's like 4 elements that really determine how you're going to do an SEO, and that plays into one. But to finish out the question on what can the small business owner do?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
So start with Google Business Profile. Second thing, go create a Facebook business page. It's free. Same thing. Leverage social media. Yeah. The cost is your time and effort, right? Because you're going to have to take photos that are relevant to your business. You're going to have to post it, write the little caption of, hey, here's what's going on. But the whole idea is to have a consistent online presence.
We're going to do
Okay, we're doing a photo here.
We're going to do live on air. Ready?
All right. So this is going on social media.
Yep. Okay,
fantastic.
All right.
So great example. In the moment. Wow, the magic of the internet.
Boom.
Or whatever this is. Yes. Magic of television, right?
There you go.
So social media is where people like you. I mean, like they get to know you. They understand. They have an opportunity to understand what are your values. What do you care about? What do you do in your community? It's a great way to communicate that kind of stuff, and it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than your time. Now, you determine as a business what's the right platform. Typically, it's going to be Facebook.
Yeah.
If you're for your business, Gray's Craze, right? Huge visual element to promoting your business. Yep. Instagram is tailor-made for what you do. That's a great platform. Yep. LinkedIn would be lousy. LinkedIn is a business-to-business platform. Now, if you're a business consultant, or if you're a company that does, employee benefits or group healthcare, those sort of things, LinkedIn is your world.
Biz Life Podcast, LinkedIn.
Exactly. So you have to put some thought into it, right?
That makes sense.
There are free tools out there that you can use. Hootsuite is one that has a free service where you can create content Sunday afternoon while you're watching a football game, whatever, create all your stuff for the next month, and you schedule it and hit the button, and then you don't worry about it.
Right.
So it's not as labor intensive and time intensive.
Yeah.
So that's a good one to take advantage of. Of course, reviews. We talked about reviews.
Yep.
Get that Google Business Profile page up because that's where the reviews are going to go.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
Reviews. So the top 4 sources of reviews, sources mean like sites where they're going to be collected.
Yeah.
It's Google, Facebook, Yelp, and TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor's hyper specific to the travel industry, but it's the 4th ranked in terms of volume of reviews. The vast majority is Google and Facebook. Yeah. But out of those 4, 80% of reviews are on Google. Yeah. So if you're going to pick a platform to, target reviews, that's the one, right? For sure. And then again, that ties back to your Google Business Profile.
Yep.
So having a focus on, first and foremost, delivering 5-star service. At the end of the day, it's all about delighting your customers and your customers becoming advocates for your business. Yeah. That's what a review is. It's a recommendation to use your business. Again, that's a free thing that you can do. Yeah. We occasionally see small businesses get into things like blogging.
Okay.
Right? So creating blog posts that they can put on their website or they can post it to social media or whatnot. So I think a blogs is an opportunity to demonstrate thought leadership in your industry.
Question on that.
Sure.
Blogs. So if you have a website and you have a blog on the website and you backlink it to either different menu items or different things on the website, does that help with the SEO?
It's a technical factor that Google looks for, so that does help.
Okay.
Backlinks. Typically, backlinks are going to be a link from your website to some other company's website and vice versa. So like if you're a member of a chamber of commerce, having a chamber logo on your page and a link to their business directory, well, you're in their business directory, and that's a relevant, authoritative entity online. So you're going to get some value from that, right? 10, 15 years ago, that was the dominant tool for SEO, was creating backlinks. Right. It's far less impactful today because there's a lot of fraud that takes place. A week doesn't go by that I don't get several emails from people promoting a link building service, right? Well, hey, we'll go create a bunch of backlinks for you. Well, generally that's going to go to spam sites, or it's going to go to sites that aren't relevant to your business, which you may get a short-term boost because of the volume, but within a couple months, Google figures out that this is all fake, and you end up worse than you were before you started with that. So, but the thing about blogs is an opportunity to demonstrate that you know what you're doing in your industry, right? So that's a good thing. If you start blogging, don't stop. Because when you create a blog, it's going to put your author, it'll put your name on it, and it's going to put the date that you posted that blog. Well, that can show up in search results. That can be one of those listings when people are doing searches. Well, if they find that link and it's dated 2019, and they look at your website and your blog's stopped in 2019, what conclusion are they going to come to? Well, they might think, hey, they're out of business. Right. Or they're not going to think a positive. Right. So that's a challenge. If you start it, you got to be consistent and don't stop. So email marketing. So if you got clients and you've captured their email, cross-selling and upselling your services. So in your case, I'll have two examples for you. Use Gray's Craze. So if you've got clients that have tried your service and you want to re-engage them. Well, you've collected their contact information when you've done business with them. Well, it's very easy to send them an email with, hey, you know what? We appreciate your business. We've got a, Labor Day special for your Labor Day parties, or whatever time, relevant thing is. We'd like to offer you something. It could be a discount. It could be, hey, we're going to upgrade you to the next size up, whatever, right? But there's no cost tools like MailChimp. MailChimp has a free service where, if you keep your contacts under a certain volume, I think it's 2,000, but I don't know that for certain. But it's enough that you can make an impact without having to pay for the service. Well, you create these emails and you're re-engaging people that have already chosen to do business with you. That's a great way to boost your business and develop repeat customers. Another use case, another example, we have a client that does fencing. They do residential fencing. So they reached out, they did a lot of analytics. They looked at their clients from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they had messages tailored to, hey, 5 years, it's time for us to come stain your fence or restain your fence so you can protect your investment. If it's 10 years, it's going to be more like, hey, you may need a restain, you may need some pickets replaced, right? Age related, right? If it's 15, you know what? We need to come out and give you a free estimate on replacing your fence. And they're re-engaging people that have already chosen to do business with them. I mean, you've heard the cliche, it's much easier to keep a customer and do more business with them than it is to go find a new one. Well, that's a free way to take advantage of that. I say free. The tools are free. Your time is not.
Exactly.
Right. No, so you got to pick and choose how you're going to invest your time. So that's what I would recommend a small business focus on, is those major areas.
That's good.
Google Business Profile, reviews, social media, blogging, and email. Those are kind of the big 5 free things that you could take advantage of. When it comes to SEO, that's where it starts to get a little bit more sophisticated. There's 4 major things that Google's going to look at that determines where you land in search results. Well, there's a technical element to begin with. So they've got a very complex search algorithm. You mentioned the algorithm at the beginning of our discussion about, hey, like, follow, subscribe, share, all that sort of stuff. It boosts us. Well, there's a technical algorithm that has hundreds of factors that are all under the covers of the website, right? What makes that challenging is Google doesn't publish what's in that algorithm. So companies like mine, we have to go
proprietary information.
Well, that's how they treat it, right?
Yeah.
And we have to go figure out what those elements are.
Yeah.
But they also change those elements about every 90 days.
Yeah.
Right now, they will announce that a change was made a month or two after they made it. They'll kind of say, "Oh, this update's now complete," and we focused on mobile user experience, kind of a big broad category.
Yeah.
They don't come in and say, "You know what? We address the screen size of images, and websites that don't have these parameters are out."
Right.
Yeah, whatever. So what we do with that is when we start a project, we make sure that the website is meeting the basic requirements that we've identified over the years that consistently make a difference.
Yeah.
And then over time, month to month, if we see clients start losing front page placement, it's typically going to be because of a change in the Google algorithm.
Yeah.
We then go do the detective work to figure out what changed, make the corrections, get them back on the front page.
Yeah.
So
just constant work.
It
Constant work.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is. It's not a set and forget it kind of thing.
Right.
Not if you're going to achieve front page placement and retain that over time. It's an iterative and rigorous process.
Yeah.
Content, right? Content is number 2. This is not order of priorities. Just this is the order of where I'm describing this. But content, it's all about having content on your website that tells your audience about your service and your market. Yeah. So think of a charcuterie board in Fort Worth. Well, that might be the title of a unique page on your website that tells the Gray's Craze story on preparing and delivering charcuterie boards in Fort Worth. Well, you might have another page that's charcuterie boards in Arlington. Those pages need to be completely unique.
Yeah.
They can't be duplicates. If they're duplicates, Google will block them, right? So that's number 2. And you need to have enough content, first of all, to tell the story about all of the services and locations where you're trying to be found. That's sort of the starting point.
Right.
But then we look and see how competitive that market is. So how many other people are listed in Google search index for that thing to get on the front page? You got to be better than all but 9 of those to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Right. So that can impact the size of content.
Yeah.
We talked about backlinks. Backlinks still have relevance.
Sure.
Okay. They've not completely gone away. It's just not nearly as important as it used to be. The 4th factor is traffic. If Gray's Craze, if your website's getting 1 million visitors a month, these other things kind of don't matter so much because Google's going to look at that and say, well, they're clearly the best in their market.
Yeah.
We're just going to boost them to the top.
Yeah.
That's the outcome we're looking for, right? So it's not a factor that, hey, let's go drive traffic so that we can get you on the front page. It's the other way around, right?
Yeah.
So those are the 4 elements that we focus on.
I love it. Well, we're getting close to the end of the podcast.
Okay.
Right. Got a couple things. First, if someone was interested in your business, right, what's the best way, the easiest communication for them to reach out? And then also what I'd like to do, I don't know if you are willing to do this, but what I'd like to do is have a special offer just for the Biz Life Podcast. So the people that are on this podcast, maybe it's free consulting or something like that, free looking at their website or something, and give them your expertise, opinion. I'm going to put you on the hot seat if you'll do that for us.
Absolutely. And I will probably even improve on that. So,
okay.
Boy, I just set myself up there, didn't I? Yeah.
All right.
So to the first part of your question, how to get in touch with us. So our website is aim-tex.com, aim-tex.com. So if you go to the website, schedule a consultation.
Okay.
We do complimentary website evaluations. No charge. That's what complimentary means, right? Free, complimentary, gratis, you can pick your word. Yeah. But what we'll do is we'll go through an assessment of your current website. We'll look at the traffic you're getting. We'll look and see how you're doing against, the search algorithm, the stuff that we've identified and we can consistently track. Yeah. We'll look at your competition and see how they're doing. And then we'll look and see, okay, what would it take to get on the front page for your business for the things that you do in the markets you serve. So we prepare that, we call it an SEO audit.
Okay.
And there's no cost for that, no obligation. At the end of that discussion, that person that we're visiting with, we give them that material. If they want to tackle it themselves, we wish them luck.
Right.
If they've got a current marketing agency they're working with, well, then they could just look at this as another set of independent, objective eyes that can either confirm they're on the right track or they need to, change direction. Ultimately, obviously, we're a profit-oriented company. We'd love to do that work for them, but that's sort of the starting point. We offer that to anybody.
Okay.
So any business that wants to schedule that consultation, just go to the website, click that button. It takes us to our calendar, and it's a 30-minute call. Takes us maybe 30 to 45 minutes to prepare for it, to do that analysis. For your Biz Life audience, what I'd like to do is offer a 10% discount on our AI SEO plans.
Okay.
So when we create content, we typically are handwriting that with content writers that are experts at creating that content. Yeah. Last fall, we launched an AI-based service where we're leveraging a generative AI tool that we've licensed to create that content. It's a much, much lower price point.
Okay.
But I'd offer that discount for your Biz Life customers. And this is literally in the moment. So, typically I'd say, we need an offer code or, some way to track it. So you know what? I'm going to trust people. Yeah. If you schedule a call and you put in the Calendly link, hey, I heard about you on the Biz Life podcast, then you know what? We're good to go. That's all I need.
There you go, guys. So if y'all are watching, listening, you own a business, then reach out to Brig and his team. 10% off. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Ready to boost your business's impact? Fully Promoted Fort Worth is your one-stop destination for branding needs, specializing in branded apparel and promotional products. They help attract, retain, and engage customers. From custom uniforms to eye-catching items, Fully Promoted Fort Worth has you covered. Contact them today to unlock your brand's potential. 817-803-4404. Fully Promoted, your success, their passion.
Looking to elevate your office meetings, client gifting, or corporate parties? Check out Gray's Craze, your one-stop destination for delightful catering options. Imagine impressing your colleagues and clients with our large charcuterie board, carefully curated with the finest artisanal cheeses, premium meats, and an array of accompaniments. And when it comes to client gifting, nothing says thank you quite like a luxurious selection of gourmet treats designed to meet your every need. Gray's Craze, catering that leaves a lasting impression.
Well, thank you again for being on the Biz Life.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Man, always learning, and that's what I love about this podcast, having the great speakers and teachers coming on here and just teaching us business, right? Because this is just a journey that we're all on, and man, want to just help out as many people as we can.
Well, Donnie, I appreciate you doing this. I'm a follower of the podcast, right?
That.
And it's not just everybody that makes this sort of investment in time. And you guys can't tell this in the studio, but these guys have invested in a professional, top quality studio. So this is not free. I mean, this is an investment. But you're doing that to help small businesses. You don't make any money from this.
Not at all. We're not monetized on YouTube.
We keep trying to get some product placement advertising, but so far, like you said earlier, nobody's returning phone calls.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for doing that. It's a great service to business owners.
Thank you, sir. Hey, we will see you next time on the Biz Life.